what's going on, Jerome's Unmas from the undisclosed location. And this one's sort of been bugging me where I love me some Danielle Hunter. Absolutely love him. Physical freak, third round pick, 88 overall, coming out of LSU. He's been one of the better edge rushers in Vikings history. He's selfless. He plays the run well. And he's recovered from injury. He missed all 2020 with a herniated disc in his neck. He missed a big chunk of the season, 2021, with that torn pec. Last year, played all 18 games, led the team in sacks, was second in pressures behind Zadarius, and they got to figure something out with his contract. But he is going to be 29 in October. I think he's still firmly in his prime. Schematically, I mean, he's born to be a 4-3 handed or defensive end. Wide dime, playing the close side of the field, that defensive end. I mean, that's been his spot. So with the Vikings, changing scheme. Last year going to 3-4-4, says that this year is going to be a lot of three-man fronts. Do they trade him? Because we said they either have to extend Neal or trade Danielle. I'm for extending because I think Flores will be smart enough to cater his scheme to Danielle as opposed to the other way around, where it seemed like Donatello was fitting players into his scheme as opposed to fitting his scheme to his personnel last year, is what it is. But you've seen before, even though Flores, at the time of the Dolphins, as well as when he was DC the Patriots, even though they primarily run three-man fronts, they found ways to get their edge rushers involved. I mean, you look at Trey Flowers, who was a meat and potatoes hand the dirt guy, but he was still a force edge rusher for the 2018 Patriots when they won the Super Bowl to find the year that Flores was DC with the Pats. So I think that they can build a role around Danielle if they want to, but you have to consider what's out there, because Danielle showed he can stay healthy. Like, he showed that he's still a premium edge rusher in this league, and that has a ton of value. And if the Vikings get a decent offer for Danielle, say a first-round pick plus, let's say like a first and a third, maybe some more change, Kwesi'd have to consider it, because the Vikings aren't going to spiral and tank into a spot where they can find their quarterback of the future at the top of the draft. It ain't going to happen. Right? But grabbing these additional first-round picks, grabbing this additional draft capital, because this whole thing about Kwesi getting a fifth from the Chiefs in the draft, or Kwesi upgrading a couple of picks in the Darius trade, like, all that matters at the end of the day. And you can get head into next year's draft with 2 first-rounders, 2 third-rounders, and some other fifth-rounders. I think that does give you some ammo to potentially move up for that guy. So I think that's the only condition that I would be moving out from Danielle Hunter. Like I said, still firmly in his prime, but if you can secure enough capital where you're able to maneuver potentially to find your quarterback for the future, okay, I understand it. I'm in. But as of right now, I'm still on team extend Danielle, because I think having that talisman on the edge, I think it's very rare. I think that's something that you can build your defense around. And, Danielle's just been a stud. I think that he's a monster. I think that he has been chronically underpaid. Of course, it's his and his agent's fault for signing that 5-year, $72 million contract. Where he was underpaid at the beginning. That sort of is what it is. But I do think that the Vikings defense is going to have a boom season with Flores. I think Danielle has to be at the forefront of it. But like I said, if you get a first and some change for it, especially if it is from a team that projects to be a relatively mid or high first-round pick, you got to think about it. You do have to think about it. But absent that, keep them in. Anyways, let us know your thoughts and our thoughts in the comment section below. Skull, no production.